choosing BaseVac Dental, the most powerful and diverse dry vacuum in the dental industry. Unboxing the assembly kit. A diagram of all included parts for your HD system can be found within the provided installation manual. Make sure that all loose parts for both the inlet and exhaust piping are included in their respective bags. Unboxing the vacuum pump. When first opening the box, you will find the user manual packaged with the vacuum control panel key. Using a partner, lift the HD unit out of its box. Unboxing the air water separator tank. Once you have removed the stabilization sleeve, carefully remove the tank from its box. To access the parts stored in the tank, detach the lid by unscrewing the 5 wing nuts. Be sure to set all hardware aside in a safe location. With the lid removed, verify that both the tank drain piping kit and 10 feet of flexible hose are included. Before attaching the lid back onto the tank, be sure to remove the foam block from the magnetic float. Set the lid back into place. Set the washers over the screws and secure the lid by tightening the wing nuts by hand. Thread the provided 90-degree quick disconnects to the 2 ports on the top of the tank. Unboxing the buck boost. In addition to the buck boost, you will find wiring directions and wall mounts. Pump intake assembly. Be sure to apply plumber's tape to all threaded fittings on the intake assembly. Located on the back of the pump is a 1-inch threaded 90. Thread on the 1-inch intake pipe until it is rigid. Next, locate the intake filter, 1.5-inch to 1-inch bushing, and 1-inch threaded nipple shown here. Thread the 1-inch nipple into the provided bushing. Attach the intake filter onto the bushing. Thread the 1-inch nipple into the brass check valve on the intake piping. The arrow on the side of the intake filter should be pointing away from the pump. Next, thread the 1.5-inch hose barb onto the open end of the intake filter. The final step is to locate the provided flex hose. Use a heat gun to ensure the end of the hose is malleable, and insert it onto the hose barb fitting on the intake filter. Tighten a hose clamp on the ribbed hose using a 10mm nut driver. Exhaust assembly. Be certain to use plumber's tape on all threaded fittings on the exhaust assembly, with the exception of the 1.5-inch end of the aluminum adapter. All PVC pipe fittings should be glued once in the final configuration. Attached to the exhaust pipe of each HD unit is an aluminum adapter with a blow-off valve. Apply plumber's tape to the 1-inch threads on the aluminum adapter. Thread the aluminum adapter into the exhaust pipe of the HD unit. BaseVac provides 3 galvanized fittings to add flexibility to the installation. You will receive a 1.5-inch street elbow, coupler, and closed nipple. Though it is recommended to use all 3 fittings, BaseVac requires the use of at least one of the fittings in the HD assembly. After installing the galvanized fittings, thread on the Schedule 80 PVC T so that the openings are resting vertically. Insert the PVC pipe with the condensate drain into the bottom port of the T. Insert the remaining straight PVC pipe into the top of the T. Slip one end of the exhaust hose over the straight PVC pipe to the top pipe of the exhaust manifold on the HD unit. Secure the hose with a hose clamp. Secure the remaining end of the exhaust hose on the side of the secondary drip leg. Secure the hose with a hose clamp using your 10mm nut driver. Assembling the air-water separator tank drain assembly. Insert one of the white PVC pipes into the drain opening of the tank. Next, insert the gate valve onto the pipe. Attach the second PVC pipe into the opposite end of the gate valve. Ensure the arrow is facing in the direction of flow to sewer. Loosen the compression fittings on the PVC check valve and insert it onto the end of the PVC pipe. The discharge end of the check valve is to be supplied by others. Using the compression fitting, secure the drain pipe so the tank discharges into the sewer following local codes. Once the position is set, use plumber's glue to secure all slip pipe fittings. Connecting the vacuum pumps and the air-water separator tank. Measure the length of hose required to reach between the HD intake manifold and the air-water separator tank vacuum outlet, and trim the access amount. Once trimmed, use a heat gun on the end of the ribbed hose until softened. Remove the barb fitting from the quick disconnect on the air-water separator tank. Insert it into the soft end of the hose as deep as possible. Tighten the clamp using a 10mm nut driver. Remember to ensure you are connecting the hose to the vacuum outlet and not the vacuum inlet on the top of the air-water separator tank. Connecting the float switch. On top of the air-water separator tank, there is a black box with gray wires. At the end of this wire is one end of a threaded quick disconnect which will connect directly underneath each control panel. Locate the port underneath each panel on the right-hand side. Once aligned, the threaded silver connection of the float switch wire will thread into the control panel, locking it into place. Wiring the remote switches. To attach a remote switch, you'll need one 18-3 wire per pump. Each pump hosts a low voltage quick disconnect underneath the control panel next to the float switch port. Unthread the quick disconnect from its port. Once detached, you'll see it will be separated into two pieces, exposing its wire terminals. Using a flathead screwdriver, loosen the connections holding the jumper wire in port 1 and 2. Loosen the compression fitting on the low voltage housing to feed your 18-3 remote switch wiring into it. Strip each wire about a 1/4 inch from the end. Your common 10 or black wire will be port 1. Your normally open 11 or red wire will be port 2. Your light 21 or white will be port 3. Using a flathead screwdriver, connect the common 10 or black wire into terminal 1 and connect the normally open 11 or red wire into terminal 2, and the remaining wire will be your light 21 or white, which will go into terminal 3. Reassemble the quick disconnect and re-thread it into the bottom port underneath the control panel. Once the unit is on for the first time, you'll be checking for the following. Watch the pressure gauge on the control panel. You'll want to see if the dial reaches a minimum of 23 inches of mercury. You can also check each piping connection to make sure they are airtight. Thank you again for choosing BaseVac Dental. Should you require assistance, please do not hesitate to reach out to a member of our support team at 1-800-668-8736 or email us at support@basevacdental.com. Please check out our website, which is linked in the description below.